Monday Night Raw is done, and I only have 2 words for you. Mommy's back. Well, welcome to Hot Takes, the episode where we sit down every single week and talk about everything you think about Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. And oh boy, did you ever have a lot to say about this episode. But I ask you every single week over on X to submit your hot takes, your bold predictions, your thoughts, concerns, or whatever else you may have on the show. And then we sit down right here, talk about them, sometimes roast them, maybe critique them, whatever else I may say about them. That's what we do right here. This poster is cinema. Yes, we finally know the women's WarGames match, and honestly, it looks pretty damn good. We've got Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae on one team, and then on the other team, we got Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Naomi. Man, those are some great looking teams. Now, a lot of people are probably going to say that this WarGames match was rushed, and honestly, it was rushed a little bit. There wasn't a lot of story put into this, and I think that the injury to Rhea Ripley also derailed the plans for WarGames to begin with, and they weren't sure if Rhea Ripley was going to be back in time to actually be in WarGames, but it certainly looks like she's back now with a whole face mask. Like, she is the undashing Rhea Ripley right now. And you could honestly say that Team Liv is beyond stacked. I mean, to have the Women's World Champion, the WWE Undisputed Women's Champion, and Miss Money in the Bank all on one team, dude, that is a stacked team. But then on the other side, you could argue that you have the biggest stars in the entire women's division in Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Rhea Ripley. Throw in Io Sky, a former women's champion, and Naomi, one of the most beloved and most underrated people on this team. You've got an absolute masterpiece in the making. Like, we already know Io Sky is going to do something crazy off the top of the cell, but also just seeing Bianca Belair wrestle inside of WarGames would be fantastic. Seeing what Jade can do with her strength inside of WarGames with tables, maybe some chairs, who knows what other weapons they're going to bring into the fray. And then you also add in the dynamic that Tiffany Stratton is Miss Money in the Bank, and you have both women's champions in this brutal matchup. It makes me wonder if Tiffany Stratton is potentially going to cash in at WarGames, being the first ever person to cash in during the actual WarGames match. Like, it would be wild if, like, say Nia Jax and Liv Morgan are both down, Tiffany Stratton is entering the ring as she's the next one up, coming out of the cage, and then all of a sudden she sees both of them down, looks at the Money in the Bank briefcase, and considers cashing in. Look, even if she doesn't cash in, that moment right there would be great storytelling, especially if she considered cashing in on Nia Jax. Because there's no doubt in my mind that Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax are eventually going to face each other for that women's championship, and it's likely going to be Tiffany Stratton actually cashing in successfully to take the title off of Nia Jax. And then I'm also really intrigued to see what Raquel Rodriguez is going to do during this match, because let's just also be real about this. Raquel has not been that impressive since coming back. She's just kind of been there. She's still smiling for whatever reason. Like, I don't know what she got so happy to be about these days, but Raquel Rodriguez, I need to see something from her in this WarGames match. I think that she knows this is her opportunity to showcase her strength, showcase her ability in the ring, because we also know Raquel can go inside of WarGames. We saw that back down in NXT, and I'm sure she's going to thrive inside the cage. And also, the other thing I want to mention right here is Naomi being inside of this WarGames match does her wonders for this Women's United States Championship tournament. I imagine Naomi will get a great showing inside of WarGames, and that can help build her momentum through this tournament and eventually become the first ever Women's United States Champion. That, or Bayley's gonna win the damn thing in the finals and turn heel on Naomi, or Naomi's gonna snap on Bayley and have her own little Becky Lynch moment. Who knows how it's going to go, but I imagine this is going to really help build up Naomi for this tournament. Now, I will also say I think that we need to see Team Liv Morgan win this thing. I don't think you can have Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Naomi walk out with the dub in this one. I think you need to have Liv Morgan pinning Rhea Ripley in this match. And that will do wonders for their feud. It will help extend it a little further, because let's be real, this feud has kind of started to get a little stale, even with Rhea Ripley gone for a little bit, even with the assault and the attack on Rhea Ripley from Liv Morgan and Raquel. There is still like some stalling momentum with this story, and if Liv Morgan is able to pick up a win over Rhea Ripley inside of WarGames, that'll do her wonders, and it will help establish Liv Morgan as a legitimate World Heavyweight Champion. WWE should do Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser at Survivor Series for the Intercontinental Championship. Dude, I am so here for the idea of Sheamus versus Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser for the IC title at Survivor Series. I would love to see Braun Breaker be featured more on some PLEs moving forward, especially if we're trying to build him up as a world title contender. But he has been incredible since becoming Intercontinental Champion just a little bit ago, and getting matches like this where we have multiple people who could take the title off him builds up the entire division as a result. And obviously Sheamus is one of the most loved characters in WWE. Every time he goes out there, he puts on a banger, but Ludwig Kaiser is somebody who is going to benefit the most from this type of matchup. You could argue that the goal of 2024 was to elevate Ludwig Kaiser from being Gunther's side chick to being the main chick. And you can see why WWE wants this man to break through as a single star. He's got everything you could possibly want. He's got the look that WWE craves. He's a foreigner, which allows them to play into the foreign heel type of gimmick, which we know WWE loves. And of course, he can speak on the microphone. Ludwig Kaiser has everything WWE wants in a superstar. And part of me wonders if this is the direction that they're going in with this potential triple threat match. I could totally see Braun Breaker being elevated up the card to being a world title contender, and I could totally see Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus entering into a feud over the IC title if somehow Ludwig Kaiser was to sneak out the win. Like, just imagine Sheamus hits the bro kick on Braun Breaker, and then Ludwig Kaiser slides into the ring, sends Sheamus outside, and then pins Braun Breaker for the IC title. That could happen. And then it's simple from there. You build up Ludwig Kaiser versus Sheamus, they fight over the IC title, and you have Ludwig walking out looking like a star. Or that could be an easy way to transition the title onto Sheamus while building up Ludwig in the short term, and then you can finally have Sheamus win that IC title, becoming the Grand Slam champion. But let's face it, what's most likely going to happen is Braun Breaker is somehow going to retain the title, and neither men are going to be elevated up the card. That's classic WWE booking for you. But what if there are different plans here for Ludwig Kaiser? Jay says this is a future Money in the Bank winner. If Gunther holds on to the World Heavyweight Championship past WrestleMania, after that, who knows? So could Ludwig Kaiser be in line to be the next Mr. Money in the Bank? Geez, like there's actually a possibility that he could be. Again, Ludwig has literally everything WWE is looking for, from the in-ring skills to the mic work to the look to being the foreigner. Everything about Ludwig Kaiser is great. It checks off all those boxes that WWE has. They see this man as a future star. And if they're not ready to put the Intercontinental Championship on him yet, we can look ahead to Money in the Bank, and we can say that this might actually be the man to win Mr. Money in the Bank. And after the presentation on Monday Night Raw, I don't think that this is out of the realm of possibility. WWE is clearly building up Ludwig Kaiser for big things in the future, making sure that he becomes his own man, no longer the side piece to Gunther. He's his own man, damn it. And like, here's the thing with the story, how it's going, I don't know if they plan on having Ludwig Kaiser break out as like a solo baby face. Like, this would be a wild take if he all of a sudden becomes a good guy in the world of WWE, or if this is setting up an eventual mega heel turn for him against Gunther, and that elevating Gunther as a babyface up the card. Like, literally, that could be the catalyst to turning Gunther babyface. And especially if we lean into something like this is the man who cost Gunther the World Heavyweight Championship, you can kind of play into how they broke up the Judgment Day with Damian Priest and Finn Balor. You could have something like that with this man and, of course, Gunther. You can absolutely elevate Ludwig Kaiser and Gunther into a feud against each other, and everybody would want to see that. I keep almost calling this man Fabian Eichner. That is not his name. What's crazy to me, though, about Ludwig Kaiser is he kind of seems like one of those guys you didn't expect to break through and become one of the stars of the show. When you saw him get called up with Gunther alongside of Imperium, I kind of thought, and I'm sure a lot of you thought as well, that he's just going to be a mid-card act for the rest of his life. But he has really elevated his game to a point that I think we have a main eventer in the making here in Ludwig Kaiser. He's so good, so why not put the Money in the Bank contract on him? Are we going to have finally Final Testament versus Wyatt 6 street fight at WarGames. No, I don't think we're going in the direction of a street fight at WarGames, but what I am hoping for here between the Wyatt 6 and the Final Testament is that we get a traditional 5v5 Survivor Series match. Like on one side, you could easily have Miz, Kross, Akam, Rizar, and Scarlett, and then on the other side, you have Bo, Rowan, Gacy, Loomis, and Nikki Cross. Now, obviously, the idea of a 5v5 elimination match where you have one female on each team might make for a little bit difficult times in order to make the match entertaining and make sense for the entire time. But like if you have the women start off against each other and one person gets eliminated, then there's like a question of, okay, well, how can the other person get eliminated? So there are some issues with this, but if you could have the men fight the women in this match, I don't think there's any issues at all. And you could go in the direction of a 4v4 match and everything would be fine, but like this is Survivor Series after all, and Survivor Series is synonymous with 5v5 elimination matches, and it's been a while since we've had one of those. I'd love to see it for this match. Like getting the Final Testament versus the Wyatts is absolutely a pay-per-view quality match, and it would bring back that feeling of must-see type of TV at Survivor Series, at least outside of the WarGames matches. And there's something so fun about the elimination style matches. Like you can get the 1v3 matchups and then the comeback is so exciting. You can get clean sweeps. You can have it get down to 1v1. It's so damn entertaining, and I actually miss it at Survivor Series. And what I like about this idea of the faction versus faction matchup is that it's not actually going to be like brand supremacy or anything like that. They have a story going on that this could make a lot of sense for. This makes a lot of sense to put the two in a match. And I imagine you would need the Wyatts to pick up the win, especially on a premium live event, but like they could easily have Karrion Kross and Miz go over, and like not a lot of people would expect that. But even if this isn't a traditional 5v5 match, I'd love to see it be some sort of street fight or anything else on the show. Like it just needs to be at the premium live event. I don't want to see it be on Monday Night Raw before the premium live event. Like it actually needs to be at the big show. Give the Wyatt 6 a big moment at a premium live event, and I think a lot of people will be entirely thrilled over it. The end of Punk and McIntyre's feud has really left such a big hole on Raw that the show just hasn't been as interesting since then. Yeah, this is fair. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre absolutely carried Monday Night Raw for the better part of this year, and now that both of them are off of TV, it does leave a massive hole on Monday Night Raw. Now, also part of the issue is that we are in the lull period of WWE. Anytime after SummerSlam until the Royal Rumble tends to be the low periods, and not a lot of incredibly exciting things happen. So when you remove the biggest, most heated feud on your show, and then you fill it with like, I don't know, other stuff, it's obviously going to feel a little lackluster in comparison. And while Monday Night Raw has been good recently, it hasn't been great, and I won't say that it's been excellent either. They are truly missing that number one feud right now. And like if you take a look at what Gunther and Damian Priest are doing, it's just not quite filling the hole that was left behind of Punk and McIntyre. I mean, you could argue that the whole who's going to join the WarGames match, who's the fifth member story is definitely taking over Monday Night Raw. And you could also argue that Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed have stepped up to kind of fill that hole. But again, when we are talking about one of the best feuds of the year that culminated inside Hell in a Cell, and now they're both gone, yeah, it definitely is leaving Monday Night Raw without some of that extra star power. And it will just be a matter of time before we see CM Punk and Drew McIntyre back in WWE, and whenever they come back, it is going to add a lot to Monday Night Raw. But right now, yeah, they are kind of looking for the next big feud on Raw, and I don't really know what it's going to be. The most likely scenario is that CM Punk is going to come back from this hiatus, and he's going to go after the World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther. In fact, on Monday Night Raw, Gunther literally said, "Look into my eyes, what do you see?" Which, if you don't know, is part of the lyrics of the theme song of CM Punk. So it seems like we are going to get Gunther versus Punk in the future. We also teased it a little while ago before Drew McIntyre and Punk finished out their feud. So like Gunther and Punk are absolutely going to go to war over that World Heavyweight title. And when that happens, I'm sure that is going to make it the best feud on the show, and it's going to add a lot to the show as a whole. So I'm not upset at this point. I'm not frustrated with Monday Night Raw, but I am waiting for the next big thing to happen, and I think it's going to be Punk versus Gunther. Bronson Reed will be World Heavyweight Champion in 2025. WWE has done a great job building him up through the last half of this year. In fact, Bronson Reed has went from being essentially just a middle of the card guy who is going to put over up and coming baby faces before they go to the main event scene to being arguably one of the up-and-coming stars who could break through into the main event scene. Hell, you could argue that Bronson Reed already is a main eventer. In fact, he just main evented Monday Night Raw against Seth Rollins and again stole the damn show. Every time Bronson Reed goes out there right now, he is commanding attention, and when you do that, when you are able to invoke a reaction from the crowd, that could lead to championship gold. And with him picking up a win over Seth Rollins in that main event of Monday Night Raw, WWE is clearly behind him, and they could be looking at a way of elevating Bronson Reed to the World Heavyweight Championship. We talked about briefly already that maybe a face turn in the future is there for Gunther, and if you did Gunther versus Bronson Reed for the World Heavyweight title, that actually might slap, and it could be must-see. And while I don't think Bronson Reed would beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, at least as of right now, it could be one of those showings that gets him to the World Heavyweight title, establishes him as a true main eventer, and then maybe down the line, you know, in like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months after WrestleMania or whatever, you look into putting the title on Bronson Reed. I think that he absolutely could crush it as the World Heavyweight Champion, and a lot of people would be interested to see what that title run would look like. But regardless, a star has been made in Bronson Reed, and I can't wait to see what 2025 is going to look like for him. It's crazy how Bo Dallas looked and sounded like Bray tonight. Like, you could honestly probably trick people into thinking that was Bray. It's making me wonder if we put Bo on the list of underrated people who never got opportunities to shine. Dude, I got chills when I saw Bo Dallas on Monday Night Raw. I legitimately for a second thought, is that a past recording of Bray Wyatt? Like, I know they're brothers and all, and I know that this makes a lot of sense to say that they look and sound similar, but my goodness, like, Bo Dallas is literally right now a replica of Bray Wyatt. How he's paying homage to him through everything here in WWE is amazing to watch, and it actually is going to bring a tear to my eye. Like, legit goosebumps when I saw Bo Dallas on TV last night. The way he was speaking, his cadence, his mannerisms, everything just screamed Bray Wyatt. So kudos to Bo Dallas. He's crushing it with everything he's doing right now with the whole Wyatt 6 gimmick, and I can't wait to see what's next for him. But this comment right here asked, was Bo Dallas always underrated? Like, should he be put on a list of people who never really got their opportunity to shine? And yeah, he absolutely is criminally underrated. Have you seen his work from NXT? Did you see his work with the B team? Did you see his work with the Miz Taraj? Everything Bo Dallas does is awesome. I love this character. I love this man. And the fact that he's now getting the chance to show his chops in the ring, on the microphone, as a gimmick, everything is working for Bo Dallas. I'm so incredibly thrilled he got this opportunity. And like, we're just scratching the surface too with Bo Dallas and the Wyatt 6 gimmick. Like, I have no idea what the end goal is for this group, if it's to get to championship gold or if it's just to right the wrongs of everybody in WWE. Whatever their end goal is, I'm here for it. And again, I just love seeing Bo Dallas get this opportunity. But how about this pairing? The Miz and Kross has been a W pairing. Karrion Kross has actually been putting in some incredible work this year. Like, every time he's on the screen, he does something awesome right now that is getting the people talking about him. I see more and more fans getting behind Karrion Kross, and that's a good thing. And Miz is also thriving in this role. Like, we all know that Miz is a far better heel than he is a babyface, and now that he's alongside Karrion Kross, trying to elevate this man at the same time as reestablishing himself as an actual top tier talent, like, this is a great pairing between Miz and Kross, and I'm so here for this idea. In fact, the more that I see Karrion Kross with the Miz, I wonder if this could be a long-term partnership where the Miz and Kross are going to kind of work together, and maybe Miz moves into more of a manager role for Karrion Kross. Like, literally, this photo right here of Kross and Miz screams main event duo. Kross being this master manipulator, this silent killer almost, and then Miz just this loudmouth who's been to the dance before in his corner, just being in his ear, telling him everything that he needs to know. And I guess you don't really need Karrion Kross to be a silent killer. I mean, he's been crushing it on the mic as well, so you can continue to have him to talk and do his own promos, but Miz just elevates Kross to another level. I love the look of these two together. Like, they scream evil, and really, truly, honestly believe that this could be a main event level pairing. TikTok. Off topic, but I'm a little concerned on how Raw is going to be on Netflix after watching that whole Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight, which kept glitching and buffering. Yeah, Netflix did have some issues over the weekend with the Mike Paul. Yeah, Netflix did have some issues over the weekend with the Paul and Tyson fight, and there was a lot of concern around WWE going to Netflix. Like, is this going to happen for WWE? Are we going to be in the middle of seeing one of the greatest moments of all time, and then there's going to buffer and then skip a little bit ahead? That is definitely a possibility, and the concern is real. But here's also the reality. Like, what, over 50 million people tuned into that fight on Saturday. There was a lot of traffic going to Netflix, and it's still early on, right? We still got a couple more months here of WWE before they go to Netflix. So Netflix can work out all their kinks with their live programming. I know that they have the NFL on Netflix coming up this Christmas, so that's another stress test that they can have. I imagine by the time WWE gets to Netflix, everything is going to be smooth sailing. Like, the concern is valid from wrestling fans. You don't want to have what happened at the Paul Tyson fight happen on Monday Night Raw or a pay-per-view. Like, that just makes a lot of sense that fans would be concerned. But I really am not concerned myself. Like, if it happens once WWE goes there, okay, valid, be concerned. Like, that is a problem at that point. But like, until that happens, I just think that we've got to give this time. We got to let Netflix work out their kinks. I imagine everything will be more than okay. And if it isn't for the first couple of weeks, well, then I'm sure they will work out the kinks as WWE is on there. So give it some time. I know it might be difficult to just accept that there could be issues, but there could be issues. In fact, hell, WWE deals with these issues all the time, whether it be on the WWE Network, whether it be on Sportsnet, which is what I watch it on, or Peacock or whatever. WWE's dealt with lag in the past. They've dealt with bad servers. They've dealt with an overwhelming amount of traffic that has essentially crashed their servers. Like, it's all been dealt with before. It's going to be dealt with again through Netflix, and I'm sure everything will be okay. But those are your hot takes. Let me know any other thoughts, concerns, whatever else you may have down in the comments below. I look forward to reading them. But also, while you're down there, you might as well leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and keep coming back every single day because we upload wrestling videos every single day. And if you would like, we also have our Patreon where we upload lots of content over there. So make sure you go over and check that out. But thanks for watching. Have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow.